cool. I'm actually gonna go in my car.
Well, hey, I've got Rob here on the podcast with me. So great to have you here on the show, especially right before Super Bowl. I mean, we're really finishing off the NFL season here with a bang. So welcome to the show, a Super Bowl champ. I'm not a Super Bowl champion. Welcome.
How you doing? I appreciate you having me on the show. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm getting ready to get down to Miami, so I'm excited.
Okay. Well, you may not be a Super Bowl champ, but I'm sure you've had a few acquaintances with a couple,
Yeah,
a time or two.
totally. But I'm also a Chargers fan, so like we've never won a Super Bowl, so it's pretty tough. So
That's a tough. You've had a tough career.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
So
admit that. I actually grew up a 49er fan, so I remember one of those Super Bowls. At least you guys made it. Nate Means and those guys, fell a little short, but at least you guys it's better than some teams.
Shoot, it started cutting out for a second. Can you repeat what you just said? Because I think it was good stuff.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was saying that at least you guys have made it to the Super Bowl. I grew up a 49er fan, and so I remember, one of those Super Bowls vividly. You had Nate Means and those guys. I was a fan of his, and he fell short, but some teams have never even gone, surprisingly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think like the Chiefs have been in like something crazy like 50 years or something. I don't know what the number is, but it's something insane like that.
Yeah, I think the last time they went, the league was like the AFL.
Yeah, exactly. So. Like not in the modern era. But I know the only time the Chargers have gone to the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure we played the Niners and we lost. Right. So yeah, that was a I was very young, but obviously still it's just
I was too.
Never been it's never been done for us. But obviously we're going to get through your whole football career and everything. But first, I'm just so excited to talk to you about what you're doing now because you're back with the Seahawks, right? I mean, that must have been so exciting to get that call, be back in Seattle. What was that like for you?
What an amazing, time for me. Went through a whole year of just, training and preparing. And we knew like when the season started, with each week that went by, the chances of getting signed were just going to be lower and lower.
Right.
But, I kept my faith in God and we just, we kept at it. And I just, I was never raised to really give up on anything, especially your dream. My dream is to continue my career, play football. I know I still have a lot left in me. Unfortunately, the things that happen in this sport, and really all sports, are injuries, and you can't control those. But sometimes we allow things that we can't control to kind of get us down, for lack of a better word. But listen, we were able to bounce back from that, stay focused on the things that we can control, which was our hard work, dedication to the game every single day, and the opportunity presented itself. Really, I mean, in the fourth quarter, the ninth inning per se. Week 17, I get signed, and Seattle was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really where I wanted to go because I was drafted there.
Yeah,
I have a lot of friends on that team. I know a lot of people in that facility, and so. Hold on, I lost you for a second. There you go.
You're good.
And so, my heart is still there. Seattle was like home for me, and so it was great. It was great to get signed there.
Oh my gosh! Well, exactly. I don't think people realize like what was it around Christmas Eve or something. I mean, literally, it's like the last week of the season, and this happens for you. It could not be a much more magical moment than that. You and Marshawn Lynch, right? Both got signed around the same time.
Yeah. It was really rewarding. I was really in I was in an unfamiliar space the end of 2018. I dislocated my shoulder. It was the second year in a row that I got injured, both in week 6. I was out for the season. It was just like, man, my career is in this huge question mark,
And you were waived while you were injured.
Yeah,
right? From the Colts? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they let me go. I mean, that's just business. It's
Yeah.
like you got to have guys on the roster
Mhm.
who are able to do stuff. Coach Pagano used to tell us all the time that your best ability in the NFL is your availability.
Mhm.
If you're not available, there's nothing they can do with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I was in a really tough space, and I haven't told this story to many people, but this kid, his name is Tristan Stokes, and I do this football camp in Utah where I went to college,
Mhm.
and so he's always attended my camp, and I have this picture. There's this cool picture of me and him. He's wearing my jersey, and he's going through the bags. He was 11 at the time, and so, he sends a message to one of my assistants. He says, "Hey, if you get a chance to talk to Rob, obviously the kid doesn't have my number.
Yeah.
He says, let him know that he's still my favorite player and our
Oh.
family still loves him, and tell him not to forget to dream big like he tells us at the football camp." And I'm looking at the text message
Yeah.
like, like, man, I got to get out of the dumps, like,
Seriously. Well,
I
because you're
got to,
human. I'm sure you were feeling at that moment like, oh my God, is this even worth it?
it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. It was a really tough situation, but I'm looking at it like, man, these kids are really looking up to us. I
My
didn't even know
gosh.
that we were really having that much of an effect on them, man. So I was my number one inspiration for coming back and playing this season was to show people that no matter how down you are, no matter where you are in life, you know, you can always bounce back
Mhm.
and find your way back to the top again, you know?
Wow.
And that was really the message I wanted to send out there. And so getting signed and be able to, like, to not give up, when we could have stopped training a long time ago, you
Mhm.
know, and we just kept at it, and God bless us with that opportunity. I mean, it was really rewarding.
Mhm.
And the kid now, he's a freshman, and he sent me a picture of
Oh,
him, throwing the ball in one of his games. He's got number
yeah.
6 on because I wore number 6 in
Oh,
college.
yeah.
I'm like, man, this is what it's all about. You know,
Totally.
So
Well, and it's like if
yeah,
you give up, then that makes him think, okay, if things don't work out, if I'm not good enough, then I give up.
right, right. Like, who am I? I'd be going against any person I've ever given advice to, or helped, like, come back from anything. I'd essentially, be going against my own words.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm not about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, and I'm sure you see that so often now. I feel like there has been this lift from so many players who are much more motivated to stay in the game because, we have other leagues coming into play like the XFL now. Like there are more opportunities for players to showcase their skills without
Right.
feeling like they have to, go overseas and, getting I mean, let's be honest, starting to get negative and like the human thoughts start pouring in. We are
Right.
human, like I said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like so, but now there are so many
Absolutely,
more
100%.
opportunities to stay positive.
Yeah, yeah. And it's cool because, like, going through that, and 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 having that testimony and being able to tell that story, it really gives the people, the fans, an opportunity when they look at it and say, wow, these guys aren't just superheroes all the time. They're human.
Mhm.
They go through stuff, and they
Right.
have these trials, and they have to fight back and stuff like that. And for me, I just want to be a living testimony and an example for, the next generation or whoever, really, whether you're older than me, whether you're coming up behind me. I just want to be that positive example that no matter what, you can get through anything.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
cool.
Well, and I think
It's a cool experience.
it's such a great example that you can also set for fans because I think so often sports fans think, oh, the athlete out there with the multi-million-dollar salary and the
Right,
fancy cars and the mansion and everything, and they
right,
think that everything is okay, but they don't realize that most of the guys are like getting released and then picked up and released and
there it is.
so much that goes on with it, and so much of it is politics. It has nothing to even do with your talent sometimes. And
Right,
I think that like a lot of fans forget that the mental hardships that you guys go through. I mean, what would you say to somebody who doesn't understand that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot that goes into the game. That obviously, the fans on the outside don't see. Most of the guys with those, making millions of dollars, it seems like all of us have that, like that. But the truth is, it's not.
Yeah.
Majority of the pro ball players don't get that sort of income, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a struggle. We have families that when we get released or cut or whatever, and we're in a different city, we have to figure that out. What do
Mm-hmm.
we do? We have to
Mm-hmm.
we have to move everybody. You know, uh, some guys like their family with them no matter what. Especially when you have like babies and stuff like that. It's hard to be away, but some families um, are placed in one spot. Like, hey, let's say San Diego's your off season
Mm-hmm.
training site. So sometimes a family
It is a
stays
very
in San
popular
Diego.
place for some reason. I would always,
Yeah, well,
when I lived there,
San
I would always
Diego.
run across down the beach. I'm like, oh, I think that's Andrew Luck, and I felt like it's so.
I I love San Diego personally, but some guys go to Florida and Texas or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And at some point, you have to leave. You have to leave for
yeah.
OTAs in the
Right.
spring, and then obviously training camp in August, and then the season starts. And so some guys are away from their families, 5, 6, 7 months out of the year for the game. They don't even see them only in the off season or if they come up and visit. So
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the game that that's really tough. But one of the things that I really learned going through that experience as well, and this is for not only fans but for young players too, is that the game and the decision making of the game is not personal. And sometimes like a trade or a release or something like that, even from a fan standpoint, like it can feel like it's personal,
Personal.
like it's directed towards you, like the individual. And from a fan standpoint, it's like the fan is like, like, yeah, get him out of here, or it's like, oh man, we really want to keep him. But from a business standpoint, that's really ultimately what it comes down to. And as a young player, you come into the league and they tell you that it's a business, and you're just like, really, like, but what does that even really mean?
Right.
You don't even know what that really means. It's
Totally.
just like it's a business at 22 years old. Like, unless you have a business major,
Yeah.
you probably don't really understand what that entails fully.
Right.
And so having that experience in the league, you start to understand, like, wow, like you can develop relationships with a lot of these decision makers. And when they make a decision to release you or whatever, it's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things that they have to do to make the team better,
Mm-hmm.
or at least they feel like they could be wrong because they're human too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get rid of a player to bring in another one. That player is probably not as good as the guy before, but at the end of the day, they were just trying to make the best decision for the team.
Right.
What's most important is that your relationship with the organization and those guys are good no matter
Mhm.
what.
Which means you've done it right, because somehow Seattle brings you back, and that doesn't happen very often in a player's career, where they come back to a team that they got drafted by, let alone a team where, they've got good friends on. I know you're really good friends with Russell Wilson. I know you played college ball with Bobby Wagner. So
Hmm.
it's really special that you have developed that relationship, because I mean, really, they could just say, oh yeah, we didn't like him, when he was there, or he was mad at us for kicking him out of Seattle. It
Right.
means something that you were able to somehow keep that relationship. How do you
Right.
do that as a more mature player?
Yeah, it's just about being professional. How do you conduct yourself when you get things that you want and when things that you don't want happen? You still have to operate in a professional manner. Um, you know, when the situation was going on in Seattle, I had a conversation with my agent, and my
Mm-hmm.
agent didn't feel. I haven't told the story to too many people, but he didn't feel very comfortable um, with the situation in Seattle. He didn't think that there would be much interest there, and didn't really feel comfortable making the call. thought to myself, I said, man, the team that drafted me, like, gosh, is our relationship that bad with the organization that we can't call, like, and I thought to myself, I said, if it is, as a professional, I need to do something about that thing, because why would I want to have any bad blood or negative energy with a team that drafted me,
Right.
and won a Super Bowl with,
Mm-hmm.
we 5-10 years down the road, we have a Super Bowl reunion. Like, I want to be able to attend it, and like, there'd be all good feelings there. Talk about our
Totally.
families, what's going on. There's possible, like, jobs in the front office in the future
Yes.
that come available. When you keep these kind of relationships, you don't think about that when you're 22 and 23, front
Right.
office job when you're
Yeah.
retired.
No.
But that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so I picked up the phone and I called John myself, the GM, John Snyder.
Wow. Yeah.
I called him, and it was a great conversation. He starts talking about football right away. I'm like, John, listen, you know, sometimes as players, what we have to do is we have to put ourselves in the decision maker's shoes. What would
Mm-hmm.
you do if you were the GM? Sometimes that gives you a little bit more perspective, a better perspective on, like, what they're trying to do and trying to accomplish as a team. Yeah, so I called him and said, John, listen, I get it. You still have 3 running backs after the injury. I'm not calling to ask you, for a job per se. Of course, like, I give anything to play for you again. I love Seattle. It's my second home.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ensure that our relationship is good. Like, I want to ensure that I want to be able to send you a text message and say, hey, man, great game, or something like that, or vice versa. You know, that was what was most important to me. And when we had that conversation, I think it was taken back by that,
Wow.
and it really drew us closer. And so that really is what gave me the opportunity to do the workout, which is like week 15
Right.
of the season. I got to work out with Seattle,
Yeah.
right? And then the following week, when it really unfortunately, Seattle was put in a real tough situation at the running back position. Then me calling again and reestablishing that relationship in the first place is what led me to get signed. So
Wow.
relationship is everything. It is.
So you just did you
It
just
is.
hang around for those first, I mean, did you just hang around for those next 2 weeks?
No, I went back home.
Okay.
Usually when you do a workout with the team, you're either going to get signed that
Yeah.
night or you're going to go home.
Right.
So, I mean, I did the workout. I didn't get signed, and I went home. What's funny is that I did that workout on a Monday,
Okay.
right, with Seattle. The Monday before that, or excuse me, the Saturday before that Monday, I worked out for Calgary, CFL team,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what, listen, the season's going to be over in 3 weeks. I still want to play.
Yeah.
And, I kind of had wrapped my head around the possibility of playing CFL. Listen,
Yeah.
I got to a point where, like, no matter what, I was going to be happy. I was going to be me, and I was going to embrace my journey, whatever that road is, whatever that journey is. Like, it's going to be organic and unique and special because it belongs to me. It's mine, and so I was going to embrace that no matter what. So I tried out for Calgary. I worked out on a Saturday, did great. Worked out for Seattle that Monday, did great. Got a contract offer from Calgary the
Mm.
next day, Tuesday. Said, okay, there's 2 weeks left in the season. One of my favorite quotes and one of my favorite movies of all time, Loving Basketball, is the quote is, chances are there's still a chance. Okay, in that movie. Monica, she's one of the main characters. She's trying to get a scholarship to USC.
Mm-hmm.
The deadline's coming up, and her mom is like, listen, maybe you want to check things out. And she's like, wait a minute, chances are there's still a chance, though, and she ends up getting a scholarship, whatever. But anyway, so chances are there's still a chance. 2 weeks left in the season. I'm not going to sign a contract with CFL. I'm going to wait, And then, boom, a couple weeks
Wow.
later, week 17, I get signed. So pretty interesting. I haven't told anybody on this kind of platform the story like that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's essentially how it all transpired.
But that means that you have so much confidence in yourself that you're not willing to give up on yourself. I remember seeing something on your Instagram that you posted, like when you first got signed, it was like a picture in the locker room where you posted, never
Yeah.
give up on God. He'll never give
Yeah.
up on you. And it
Yeah.
sounds like to you, I mean, to me, that's your mantra for not just playing, but for being a human in this business.
Everything. Yeah. I mean, I go by that everything. You know, I grew up on that. And we're human. Sometimes we veer off from what got us here at times, you know, situations, things happen, you know, like circumstance, you know, sometimes is what mostly drives us away from our original values. But what's important is getting back to 'em, you know, and I was able to get back to mine, and great things. But I'll be up at the Super Bowl as well. You've really gone other than being in it twice, but it's a great opportunity to go and network and meet some people and shake some hands, and the NFL will have some like post-career opportunity stuff for guys looking to get into that. So I'll be participating in that as well. I'm excited.
Oh, that's
About this
awesome.
offseason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like as much as, you know, it is hard, I know these guys aren't necessarily covered for, you know, insurance wise the rest of their life. I know people who don't get settlements until decades down the line. But as far as jobs go, it seems like the league is doing such a better job at helping you guys transition out of the sport and into the business world.
Yeah, they are. They are. And I didn't know how good of a job they were doing until, you know, this past off season, you know, until I was going through what I was going through. And I took the time to go to DC to visit the NFLPA offices.
Okay.
And I took the time to go to New York and visit the NFL offices, and I was completely you know, dumbfounded. I was amazed at all the things that they offer, you know, and both from the PA and the NFL. It's like, wow. I mean, these programs, the thing with us players, especially when we're young, is that, you know, some of us don't really take the time to engage into what those things are early enough, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
And so I'm glad I was able to catch it, although at the in the latter part of my career, but now I'm able to tell, like, you know, the next player, a young player, like, hey, listen, just take a day, take 2 days, go to DC, go visit the NFLPA offices. It's amazing. I mean, I was there for 4 hours.
Wow.
You know, talking to different people, sitting down, showing me this, showing me that, and the same for the NFL. The NFL was really the most surprising because for whatever reason, you know, like it's the NFL. It's like it's the players and then it's the NFL.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
like there's this rift.
It feels like the NFLPA is totally separate. It's
Yeah, you know, but it's not. It's really not. You know, it's really not. The NFL is not against us. They're actually really more for us if we actually go and take the time to go and take a visit there. The door's open. So
I love that.
So some really cool things went on in 2019 that I'm really grateful for.
That's amazing, but it's also really great that you took those preparative steps, you know, just in case, you know, you need to be ready to transition out of the game, but also to like approach off the field opportunities while you are still playing to get yourself better prepared for when you are 100% retired.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, you know, 100% of the players will stop playing one day. You know, we all do, you know. And so you know, what else are we gonna get into? Sorry, I'm getting this call.
Oh, it's okay.
That's probably why you can't see me.
No worries.
I have to call her back here.
We're almost done.
Okay.
Like
yeah, no worries.
3 more minutes. So
I'll just let her know. Oh shit. Sorry, hold on.
You're good.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I thought I was back. Now I'm back. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Listen, I can talk all day, you know, just to let you know. there's a I mean, I'm not saying I'm like the most interesting guy in the world or anything like
No,
that.
no,
I
I
feel
love
like I
it.
do some pretty cool. I feel like I do some pretty cool stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. No, I love it. I mean, I love it. But I think it's really important that you're sharing what you're doing, because also just not taking advantage of the resources that the Players Association is putting out there is one of the biggest issues, I think, for players. Like, I think some guys just don't even know they're there.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is like the PA comes twice a year, sometimes three. They come and visit the team,
Mm-hmm.
and they take an hour when the day's over. So this is like after meetings, after practice, after meetings again. In the NFL, PA has an hour of your time, and they go over this and they go over that. And quite frankly, 90% of the room is just kind of tuned out. I mean, the day's over. Like, I just trying to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
And so you don't get as much, and they're under a time crunch as well. Like I
Totally.
said, I was at the PA office for 4 hours. I was at the NFL office for 3. No time crunch. I'm there. I've dedicated my day to it. It's a totally different experience. Any guy playing in the league right now, I would advise to take a trip up there during their off season in both places for sure,
Wow.
100%.
Oh my gosh, I love that suggestion. I think it's great. And just going to these events. I mean, did you cut out for a second? Did you say you are going down to Super Bowl or you're not going down?
Oh yeah, I am. I am
Okay.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's such, like you just said, and I mean, I know this. I've only been once. I went in San Francisco a couple years ago, but it is such a powerful time for athletes, whether they're playing or retired, to network.
yeah.
Like, if we're in so many different areas, it's insane. I don't even think people understand, like, in so many different non-sports related,
Exactly.
environments. It's crazy. Like, being
Right.
able to pitch your business or talk to investors who like would want to talk to something that you want to get involved in. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities are really endless there for networking, and I think it's fantastic that younger guys, I feel like now, just because of social media and, people talking more, the younger the player gets, it seems like the more people are now taking advantage of those opportunities, and then being able to prepare themselves more for, what happens, when it's life after football all of a sudden.
Absolutely. 100%. And for me, like I said, I've never been to the Super Bowl other than playing in them.
Right.
So I didn't know or understand as a younger player the benefits of going,
Totally.
even when
Exactly.
even when you're not in it. You're younger, you're like, man, I don't want to go to the Super Bowl, man. I'm not in it. We're not playing. We lost.
Like,
You
I'm
get
gonna
this
be like,
emotional
honestly, I think it's
attachment.
more fun, but
You get this emotional attachment, and you
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
realize, like, man, there's some pretty incredible opportunities
Yeah.
that you can explore if you go. So I'm going, and I've actually never been to Miami either. So it'll
Yeah.
be I'm looking to have
I've
a good
never been
time.
allowed to drink in Miami. Like, I went in high school, and, like,
Okay, okay,
I don't know if it was actually a open container environment or whatever that's called, you know what I mean? Because all I
right,
remember was I was there in high school, and my parents were walking around with drinks outside forever, and I was just like, this feels like Las Vegas.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
a funny environment. So I'm excited to, see it. It sounds like it's going to
yeah.
be pretty fantastic, but no, but yeah, I mean, that's totally off topic, but yeah, there's gonna be so much crazy stuff going on down there. You're gonna have to come to my podcast booth that's getting set up down there and
Oh,
come
are you gonna be on
see
Radio
it.
Row? Right? Is that what it's called,
So
Radio
so
Row?
yeah, so Radio Row is like the main row. I'll be there at some points. I don't know if I'll actually
Okay,
be set up there, but what they started is like a mini, like, Radio Row for podcasters, and it's like a
nice.
newer thing that they're doing now. Yeah, and it's and that one's 2 days long. But yeah, I'll be on Radio Row
I'll
a
definitely,
couple
yeah.
weeks.
Just let me know, and I'll definitely pull up.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm launching my podcast.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
wait, tell us
Robert
about
J.
it.
Yeah, so it's the Robert J Turbin podcast. I mean, that's the name for it for now.
Right.
That can change here in the next hour. But we're gonna be talking about sports. We'll have some pretty cool guests on to
Mhm.
open up the show. Russell will be on, and I'm hoping to get Beast Mode, my guy, to
Mhm.
come on now, and we'll see what happens. We'll be talking about sports. I have a
Love it.
passion for all sports, and we'll sprinkle in some entertainment,
Yeah.
here and there, just to,
Stay
keep it
relevant.
interesting.
Yeah.
Right, right. But we'll talk about sports, all sports. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really can't wait. I have a real true passion for sport. One of the first topics that we're going to talk about is what is a sport? Like,
I love
I
that.
what makes a sport a sport? I did a thesis paper on this. All
Oh
right,
my
this is
gosh.
this
We'll
is
have
my
to,
yeah,
yeah.
10-page thesis paper in college. This was like my final, and our professor was really cool. He's like, you can choose whatever you want your topic to
Yeah.
be, whatever you want it to be. And I was like, okay, yeah, we get this debate all the time. That with people, right? Dancers and
Trust me. Hello.
cheerleaders and boxers and
I'm a dancer and cheerleader.
gymnasts.
So, and it
You
drives me
know,
freaking
yeah,
insane because I'm like, I've, okay, one more national championships than you, and I'm faster than you, but okay.
right.
Like,
So what makes a sport? Before we even dive into sports, let's talk about what sports are.
I
Is
love
it a
that.
sport or is it a competition? That'll be our first topic. We'll get into it. Robert J Turbin coming soon. The Robert J Turbin Show. So I'll be launching that, and yeah, I mean I'm excited about it. I did radio for 2 years in Seattle. I had my own radio
Nice.
show, the Turbo Show, and
Yeah.
I was a co-host for Sports Locker, this TV show in Indianapolis for a year, and so I've got a little bit of experience, behind the mic and the TV and stuff like that. So
Totally. Yeah.
I'm
You're
really
made for it.
interested in diving into that. So, but yeah, I'll be talking about that, and I'll be talking a little bit about my foundation, just kind of
Yeah.
so that people can get to know me a little bit. The Run a Few Foundation.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
support
Tell us
people
about
with,
it.
yeah, we support people who have MS and cerebral palsy. And so I had two older sisters who were each afflicted with one of those diseases,
Oh my
and
gosh.
unfortunately they both passed on, stuff like that. So it's really near and dear to my heart, and I love, like, just being able to do things in the community. I like being a part of the people. When I was growing up, we didn't have that. We didn't have like someone who went pro or whatever come back and spend their time with us. In college, we had one guy, Jarrett Bush, who played for the Packers for 9 years, would come back, but the other alumni wouldn't come back really at all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those guys. I always said, man, no matter what, no matter how famous or whatever happens,
Love that.
I always want to be a part of the people. It's easy to like write a check and like do, but it's like it's so much better when you can like do something that can involve the people as well, and you're getting the same effect. You're still raising money and all that kind of stuff, but you're doing something fun and you're able to involve the community in it.
Yeah.
So that's why I do my alumni basketball game in March in my hometown at my high school, and I do my
Wow.
2 football camps, one in Fremont where I grew up, and the other one at my alma mater where I graduated college. You know, and I mean, without that, I really learned that those events and those, like, the people that are involved, they have more of effect on me
Mhm.
than I do them. Like I said, like I told the story earlier about the kid who that really inspired me to to get up,
Yeah.
essentially, and so yeah, I have a real passion, and we're gonna expand. We're gonna expand into Seattle,
Oh,
and
awesome.
we plan on having what do you call, like a camp for people of disability
Yeah.
or paraplegic athletes. We're going to be doing
Cool.
that 2021 in Seattle. So we're going to start really spreading it out here
Yeah.
real
Wow.
soon.
So you've got a lot of you've got a lot of things on your plate when it comes to off the field opportunities. You're very prepared no matter what. This is going to be awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
Thank
But
you.
all for a good cause. I love it. I mean, even with the podcast, I think that, it sounds like you're going to have good content that is out there, helping somebody, just because, it gets hard, man. Like there's so many podcasts out there nowadays. So it gets very,
Right.
crowded in like the sports world, and
Right.
everyone talks about the same thing. So I love that you're talking about things that are important, things that just like often get, I don't know, overlooked. And so you're bringing up good subjects, you're helping people that need it, and also bringing sports to people that might not be able to play at the level that you can. I think is so important. I think that's so
Yeah.
fantastic because, and like, not everyone can make the Special Olympics or go to events like that. So
Right.
this
Right.
gives some other kid an opportunity. So gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're living the
I,
dream.
yeah. No, I appreciate that. What's really cool is I don't know if you saw. I think it was like 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days
Mhm.
ago. Sports Center. I'm watching Sports Center, and they're doing the top 10. And I think the number one highlight was like the guy like rolled this ball, and it curved all the way like to the middle. I don't even know what game that they were playing, but like it was like this. I mean, whatever he did was just it was immaculate. Like it was
Mhm.
it was like one of the best ball rolls that
Yeah.
they've ever seen. And it's just like, man, like I like what is that?
Yeah.
Like and it's stuff like that like I want to be able to do on the podcast. Like it
Totally.
gives me an opportunity to learn and the listeners and viewers,
Yes.
like
Yes.
what is it? Because I mean, you and we can talk about football all day. We have
Yeah.
a passion for it. I play it, but there's other people who do other things that have the
Mhm.
same feeling for that. And that is what I'm interested in. Like
Yeah.
I want to know,
Totally.
like
Yeah.
what makes you tick for
Right.
rolling a ball to
Yeah.
the middle of a circle, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, total. I think that is really important. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've been retired from NFL cheerleading for years, but I still love talking to people about what they are currently doing because then I feel like I'm somehow just like involved in their, you know,
Yeah,
manifested career
yeah,
somehow. It's
yeah,
fun, like, and I am learning, and um I just feel like it's a great way to really educate yourself, like you said. I mean, sometimes things like that kind of like help you more than the other person who you think you're helping. But that's
yeah,
the
it
thing, like,
really
I do
does.
this podcast, but I learn so much about other people, about other things, almost just as much or more than what I'm putting out there. And when I get messages from people all the time like, oh my gosh, you helped
Sure.
me so much, and I'm like, cool, great, but I actually thought that episode was better for me. It was so therapeutic.
Right, right. I tell you
So
what,
yeah.
when I see you in Miami, let's do another episode.
Yeah, for
If you're
sure.
if you're down,
Yeah, let's do
and
it.
I want you to come on mine.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
said you were an NFL
100%.
you were a cheerleader. Like
Yeah, so I cheered for the
let's
Chargers and I cheered for Oregon. And so I have cheered in the Seahawks stadium. We cheered like when we, oh gosh, I think Oregon was playing Washington State. Yeah, so
okay.
I have
Yeah,
cheered in the Seahawks stadium. So
yeah,
I do know that
nice.
that place can get pretty loud.
Right.
But
Right. Now you know why cheerleading is not a sport, right?
why?
Because you don't control your own destiny.
Oh, interesting. I've never thought of it that way. Huh.
Although very listen, I don't tell a lot of people this,
Yeah.
okay? I probably shouldn't even say this, but like I was a back spotter for our cheerleading team for like three
Okay.
weeks,
Well,
okay?
I'm not a stunter. I'm a dancer. So, because like
Okay.
I have nothing to do with stunting. So,
All
but I know
right.
exactly. Oh my gosh, but I love that you've done that. So keep going. Oh my gosh, and that takes a lot of strength. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I did it for until coach wanted us to do competitions. And then that's
Okay.
when I was like, wait, I thought we were just doing this for like shits and giggles,
Totally.
excuse my
Yeah.
language. But anyway, yeah. So I listen, I know like how dynamic and hard, and athletic you have to be to do. I can't do 90% of that stuff, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But when it's all said and done, that's what makes it hard, like boxing,
Totally.
when it's
Yeah.
all said and done at the end of competition, like
You think you're the best,
who
but you don't. Yeah.
yeah, well, it's not up to you. Who wins?
Totally. Exactly. No, it's
up
not.
to it's up to
I've
three
had
people who
competitions.
sat there and watched.
Totally. Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and so it's a competition, a very difficult and strenuous, and all of that. But the lack of, the fact that you don't control your own destiny
I love how you put that.
from a definition standpoint doesn't make it a sport.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the winner or loser is
Okay, so then
decided by the opinion
but then
of
what
someone
would you
else.
say? Then what would you say about gymnastics or figure skating? Okay,
The same.
got it. Yeah.
The same. It's
Yeah.
the same. Gymnastics, like I'm sorry. I mean, I've gone to gymnastics meets,
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, wow, But then, you see something and you're like, well, I thought that was a 10, for lack of a
Yes.
however,
Yeah.
but the person next to me says, well, I saw it as an 8. And then the next person, they saw it as a certain number. And so they're in control of
Yes.
and obviously there's like points. You see stuff that are like, okay, that's a point, or
Yeah.
like obviously they but it's still opinionated.
Yeah.
And because of that, technically, it's not
that
a
is
sport.
really fascinating. Wow. See, and
so,
I understand. The problem that I have with things is that when people try to say like, oh, you're not an athlete, like being an athlete versus playing a sport, I think are two totally different things. Does that make sense?
I feel you. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are definitely athletes for sure.
So, because
Definitely.
I'm like, well, in college, our strength and conditioning coaches were all the football strength and conditioning coaches. So I'm pretty sure that call, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's funny, but I mean, it's hilarious. Like I stopped working with this trainer recently, just because he was kind of an asshole, but he basically told me, like, first of all, I don't even think he knows what an analyst is, but I had ranted about this on my Instagram, and he said something where I think there were only like 4 guys in the gym at this point, and he was like, no offense, Bridget, but I effing, full on F-bomb, I effing hate female sports analysts. They have no idea what they're talking about.
Wow. So
and
Doris
then goes
Burke
on
has
this
no idea what she's talking about?
Wait, no, so that's the funny thing. He was like, the only one I like is Doris.
Oh my gosh.
But still, I was just like, okay, really? Well, no, he said the one with the glasses, and I was like, you mean Doris? So,
right.
but like, you know what I mean? Like,
you can't don't disrespect Doris like
exactly.
that, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So, but he went on this whole thing about how basically women don't belong in sports and everything and stuff. And I'm like, okay, of course there are some women out there, like, I'm not going to lie, who like are misrepresenting and are being silly, whatever. Like, of course, but that's with anything. Like with anything that you do, anybody's like that, And like, he went on this whole thing and then he's just like, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. And I was just like, oh, you didn't hurt my feelings. I was like, you just offended every single woman who feels like they can't do anything that men can do. And I'm not saying like women should play in the NFL, because personally, like, because we have different bodies. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm still saying, like, I don't know. I went off on him. It was so bad. It was like,
honestly,
but
I've heard some takes. With women on NFL Network and such, and it's just like, they know. You guys, they know the game. Like, come on, like.
Well, I don't even think he knows what an analyst is, because, like, I'm like, if you're an analyst, you have to know your shit. Like, you have to actually know. Like, an analyst isn't just a field reporter. So I'm like, I don't think he even understands. You know what I mean? Like,
I know plenty of guys who don't know shit about what they're talking about.
Totally.
Yeah. Max Kellerman is on ESPN every day, and sometimes I'm just like, come on, Max, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about, really? So, anyway.
I feel you. I feel you.
You gotta follow me on Instagram.
I think I did follow you, because I was when I was doing my research this morning. Let's see. Let's see. I think I did, or I was just looking through your Instagram. Let's see. Did I? Oh, okay. Yep, I followed. Okay. Yes, I followed. So because my thing is after orange slices, because I deleted my personal Instagram. I deleted my personal Instagram because I went on this whole
Because
personal journey of realizing that social media was a negative space for me. And I kind of felt like, because this is when I was actually living in Washington. I don't know if you know, like the eastern
okay.
side of the state, Tri-Cities. It's a very
Yeah.
small area.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean, the people there are really nice and everything, but there are like no trees.
Right.
It's a different place.
No, I've been
But
up there.
yeah, but the wine's really good. The wine industry is blowing up there. But so I was like the sports anchor up there at the CBS station up there. And I was just feeling like I'm like, God, I feel like I'm just putting together every high school kid's recruiting reel. Nobody's gonna want to see my posts. Like I'm just like the worst person. I have nothing to do. Like, I just felt like I was so down on myself about
Right.
what was going on in my life. Like I felt like no one's gonna want to see what I do, and so I just went through this thing with Instagram where it was like a negative trigger for me. And kind of once I got off of it for a bit and realized like, oh, I can totally use Instagram in a positive way. I
Mm-hmm.
deleted my old one, started my new one when I started this podcast, and I left that old job like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it's been like such a positive space to, see other people's stories and grow, which this is completely unrelated, but like I preach this to everybody who ever has any trouble with dealing with social media stuff. Cause I'm like, now I love Instagram. And
Right.
but it took me like needing that hiatus,
Right.
and like, and just like seeing like followers and all that crap don't matter because so many people
Yeah.
are so
Yeah.
obsessed with that stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna start an account. Like I started my account in August and I was like, I don't care. I don't care about losing all my personal followers. Who cares? Like this is gonna be a safe space for everyone who likes my podcast, and my podcast will be like my beard. But then it ended up being like a way for me to personally also share what I was doing, because I just like all of a sudden have this podcast that I love, and I'm like able to connect with all these people that, love what I'm doing. And I'm not just seeing, Sally's 10 babies like through the
Right.
feed, every time. It was
Right.
like, so it's
Right.
just, I don't know. So I always tell people that, because no matter what you're going through, I don't know, sometimes you just need a little break and you need a little reframe, like time, got to figure things out, because I feel like you've done that in your life many of times, just with all the things that you've been through. Sometimes you just got to like look at things in a different way, through a different window.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Different lens.
yeah,
I totally understand that. That's amazing.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So that's my little piece. But yeah, but let's
Yeah.
definitely, when we get down to Miami, yeah, we'll definitely do another show or something, because I'd love to at least do another segment just talking about, what makes a sport, because I think what you were just saying is great, and I feel like we could talk forever about it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that'd be
We
awesome.
definitely can. Okay.
Okay,
I'm down. I'm
cool.
down. So
All right.
you're
Yeah, it's at After Orange Slices, but I think it says my name, so
after orange
it
slices.
should show
After
up.
orange slices is your handle?
Yeah, because
After
the name of
orange
my
slices.
podcast. My name of my podcast. Get it?
Oh, that's funny. I
Yeah.
love that. That's funny.
Thanks. I know it's pretty catchy. So, yeah, it was so funny. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna put this on the air, but I got a random email from like an MTV producer this morning, and I'm pretty sure she found me like through Instagram or something. I don't know, but she like wants me to come in to talk about hosting some show or something. And she asked me, it's so funny because you said this entertainment stuff. So I think she thinks that I know a lot about entertainment because of my like handle or something. And so because she said something about my name and my handle and something, and it would be like a show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know nothing about entertainment. I don't watch reality TV. So I have to go study right now and figure out if I can learn some of that stuff. But it was really funny. So anyway, so some people think, my point is,
I
some
think
people think that my handle means different things apparently. So
I think you do. I think you do really well in that space.
yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm like, I've done so many things. I love, taking whatever opportunity people throw at me. So we'll see. So,
All right. Let me
all right.
let you go before I
Sounds
take up
good.
all your time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I'll let you know when this goes up. I'll keep you posted, and then I'll just like DM you or something, and then we can talk about Super Bowl and meeting
Okay.
up down there.
All right.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
love to put this on my networks as well.
Yeah,
This video, so send it to me.
will do. Definitely.
My number or
Yeah.
whatever. Just
Okay.
let me know.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. I'm hoping that I will get this up on Monday, which I usually don't do them that fast, but I was thinking like since it's Super Bowl, like I should maybe just do it that week anyway. So yeah, I'll just rearrange a couple of things. So
Okay, no worries.
sounds like that'll be when it is. But yeah, I'll just message you and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you
Okay.
soon. Thanks so much for doing this.
No worries. Thank
Okay.
you for having me.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.